All right, we have to replace the head sensor inside of the Ghost. Well, at least we thought we did. It quit working on us the last time we went fishing. Diagnosed it to a head sensor. We pulled it out of the backyard, brought it in here so we could change the head sensor, did a complete factory reset on it, and it started working. So when I decided I was going to change the head sensor, I figured I'd go ahead and put the Ghost X indicator in it, which makes it a true indicator, which is tied to the motor through the new gears, pulley, and belts. So we're going to go all the way to the head sensor, come all the way back out and replace parts on the way out. It's not going to be a how-to. You can just watch me and we'll figure it out as we go. I've watched a couple videos, and what you must do is make sure that your arrow points towards Lowrance, because once you get on the inside, when you take all this off on the inside, there's two arrows. These two arrows on the inside have to line up. And what that does is line your arrow with the bottom of the motor down here. So what you do is you flip your prop inboard onto the boat, and the tools you need is a Torx 10, a Torx 15, a 4mm, wire cutters. Well, actually not wire cutters, you need a zip tie, something to cut zip ties. You can get you some nice flush cutters from Harbor Freight. They do good on zip ties. Knife to cut some heat shrink, and a 4mm that takes the belt loose. So you gotta take all this cover off, which is held on with 2 bolts. I think there's 16 of these bolts. These are T15s. And it's cold here in South Georgia. 48 degrees was the last time I looked at the thermometer. It's cold for us. We were gonna go fishing, but I'm like, since the head sensor quit working on us the last time we went fishing, we'll just go ahead and get all of this done. I'll get this cover off and I'll come back to you. All right, so you get the top cover off. It's got the little rubber membrane. There's your stupid flaw that doesn't work. So here's your waterproofing membrane, which we won't use this when it goes back together because we got the Ghost X upgrade for this. But we're after the head sensor that's in here. So I'm going to use this to hold screws for this part. So you gotta be careful. There's T15s and T10s in this. Like I said, the last time we took the boat out, it quit working. We put it in the water and it just beeped, wouldn't do nothing. You couldn't control it with a pedal or anything. Lowrance and the internet said that it was the head sensor. So I ordered one, and I figured while I was in here doing the head sensor, I'd do the Ghost X upgrade. Now what the Ghost X upgrade is, your arrow for up top was done with magnets. You got a magnet here, you have your rubber membrane that went over top of it, and then there's a magnet right here, and it's supposed to stay with the magnet. Well, the magnet to the rubber membrane and the friction of the top cat, it just wouldn't work. It would never stay with the direction of the trolling motor. So now with the new upgrade, which I'll show when I get to that point, it's all belt driven. It's hard to it, it's all run by belt. So if that thing turns, the arrow turns. So you gotta watch right here, it's stuck. They say you gotta pry on it, and it just pops out. But they say be careful because prying on it could break it. And this is your GPS right here. Changing your GPS chip is easier than changing the head sensor because it's right here. Head sensor is down underneath here. We got to go deep for the head sensor. You just pull this out, lay this off. There's your GPS. And you get up here underneath. You got to flip this up because this one, they have no clips. The power has no clip, so you can just pull it out. The black one has a clip on the backside that you push and it'll slide out. And all of these have clips. You gotta push it down and pull. This one has clips on the side. You gotta squeeze them, push and pull down, and thumbnail pull, and it pulls out. So be careful with this because this is your motherboard. This has to come off. This is your thermal transfer heat, and it's all a 10. This is what the actual motherboard stuck to, is that right there. All right, as you can see, what we were talking about earlier before I took the top off about the arrow pointing this way. You can see right here the two arrows you got to line back up. Well, actually, these two gears will be out. So you're not putting these two gears in. You got another gear in the kit that goes in, but the arrows have to be pointing towards each other. That's how you time the system. All right, so you got some zip ties you got to cut here. Another one right here. You pull all this out. This is your pretty much a NEMA 2000 cable, I think, so what you would call this, but it goes to the trolling motor. Here's your power and ground. You have to cut these open. They give you a new heat shrink for it, so don't worry about it. Now that that's all ready, the center plastic piece comes up. I think it's all T10s. Like I said, make sure you take pictures. All right, so you get everything, all the screws out, and then it just pulls out. And then wiggle it. Miss a screw? I think it just... Whoa. And it turned off back there? Well, we'll put it back together and see if it burned it up, but I don't think it did anything. It melted it, and still got good contact. That melted in there pretty good. We'll have to chisel that out. Well, let's put it back together. Maybe I just burn up my trolling motor. Always make sure your power is off. Hope that was on video. I'm gonna try not to loosen up this belt. Hopefully we can put it back together. Because if not, you got 4 screws here that you gotta loosen up. Loosen this, and this motor slides in and out and controls the tension of this belt. I'm hoping that I'll be able to put it on without it. Because you gotta have a torque wrench, and the way they torque it, like this is pretty dry. So that'll be getting some lube when I put it back together. All right, so the head sensor and the arrow, this is for how the arrow used to work, see? Now what was supposed to be, as you turn that, it was supposed to keep up, but the problem is it would skip like that. So now with the new kit, all of this will be hard linked together, like there won't be no magnets controlling how it turns. So you gotta pull this out. This belt goes away, that goes away, this big gear goes away. But there's the main drive. Like I said, the arrow is going to point that way because that's the way we clocked everything before we took it apart. Right, now here's the head sensor. This is the piece that I originally bought to change because we thought it was bad. But when we tested it yesterday, the reason why it still turned on and not turned off and unplugged like it's supposed to be for this swap. But I've got the new part. I'm in here deep. And I'm going to change it. So we got a new head sensor, somewheres. Now, what I was told from the internet, when you order these head sensors, you want to make sure it has this sticker on it. Now, how true that is, I don't know. That's what I did. Yeah. So these 2 holes into the sensor, when you put the plastic piece on, it goes through those holes. So how does the new system work? Here's how it works. This got rid of this. This goes away, this goes in. And what this does, this comes through the rubber membrane, goes right into the arrow, and belt drive straight to the arrow. So as it turns, it turns. There's no lag, no jumpiness. Now this only goes in one way because of the grooves that are in here, but also you know the arrow is going to point that way. And you got to keep this thing at the bottom. So this little piece, when you put it in, has to be at the bottom. Got the grooves, it only goes in one way. So you got your blue Loctite. This is a gel. I've never used a gel before, or paste. Huh, paste. It's not running all over the place. It might be my new go-to. Nice and snug with some Loctite on it. Arrow to arrow. New belt. It's not very tight. It gets its tension from the top plastic. That's pretty close there, arrow to arrow. So, when I was talking about greasing this, there's no reason to grease this because it spins into a bearing back here. So the bearing itself should be greased. So we shouldn't have to worry about that part. Alright. Let's see if we can put this belt on without taking the adjuster apart. I don't see why not. It came off fairly easy. Oh yeah. Matter of fact, after we put it together, I might try to adjust that out just a little tighter. I don't know. It seemed to work perfect with the last one. So you got the new plastic piece that comes with it. Now when I was talking about the belt tension, if you look right here, these little grooves right here, I see what he was talking about in that YouTube video I watched. The belt has to go follow these grooves. And what that does is it squeezes the belt and makes it tight, because you got to get a screwdriver or a pick in there to pop it into place after you set it on fire. Fire! So when you get it pushed in there, you can feel the thing pushing on the belt. So you gotta pop the belt into those grooves and make sure none of your wires are pinched behind that plastic. You got your 1, 2, 3, 4 wires coming through the center. This one here comes through a little groove, and so does the little one there coming in the groove. Because this wire gets tucked back into here, snap back into the plastic right there. All right, this wire gets hooked back up. So as you can see, I melted a hole in that. I don't know if you can see it, but trust me, it's there. So you gotta blame that on your lovely assistant. Mine didn't make sure my power was off.
You want to turn it on, see if it catches on fire?
No. We'll wait till we put it back together.
Well, you don't want to burn the motherboard.
So we go back up like this. They'll sound a little scratchy going in, but the reason they do, because you're screwing it into that new plastic piece and there's no threads. And so these screws are cutting their own threads as they go in, but it feels like it's not going the right way, something's wrong, but it's not. Just remember, you're cutting new threads into the new plastic. You hear that crunching?
Yeah.
That's it, cutting new threads. Just remember, it doesn't have to be smoked down. That's why most people say don't use power tools when you're doing this, because it only has to go in and bottom out. And then a slight, like that's bottom, slight snug. And you got this one screw that is completely different than all of them that goes in the top because it screws into aluminum. It's a fine thread screw. All right, GPS. Oh, I forgot to plug the GPS in. Let's see if I can get it. New cover, new membrane. Insane for the membrane. Insane in the brain. Yeah, look at that. Alright, you can turn that off. Gotta find the other screws. The arrow's going on. It can only go on one way. So if you have this backwards, pointing right where it was when we took it apart. So moment of truth. Hook it back up and see if we fried it. If that passes, we gotta go through a reprogram. I'll let Kyle smoke check it. Power on. Beeped.
Beep.
Don't, yeah. Well, see if it'll turn left and right. Let's see if it. Oh, look at that. Look how smooth that arrow is, YouTube.
Is it with the prop?
Yeah, it's pointing that way.
Doesn't jump.
All right, we didn't burn up that part of the pedal. Push it.
Is it? Okay.
You're clear.
Turn to max.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, there you go, YouTube. Well, we got that part fixed. We now what we got to go on to is figuring out live scope. We've got 2 live scope systems, active target 1s, that we want to put on this boat. in scout mode and down or forward mode. And the reason we're doing that is because you all know that we're Bait Odyssey Baits. We're custom baits. We make custom baits. And a lot of people ask us, how good is our baits with forward-facing sonar? We don't know. We don't have it. So now that the forward-facing sonar or active target is active target 2 and active target 2 XL is out, the active target 1s are getting way cheap. Like I paid $700 for the full system each. And so now we're going to figure out how to put all that in this little boat. And also, since we had the board completely out and that's our brand new head sensor in the trolling motor, we got to go from a factory reset to calibration and everything on that. So hang tight and we'll get back into something.